Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel and my little in-between series video, and shout out to Chris, who is Resin Ace on YouTube and Red Hot Moulds on Etsy, for sending me this. Now, if you've been with me a while, you would have already seen these. A whole selection of silicone inlays and silicone moulds that Chris made and he sells on his Etsy page, Red Hot Moulds. We've got these itty bitty teeny tiny little inlays and teeny tiny moulds. Chris then made a larger mould which he sent me, and I bought my own as well on top of that. He then went even larger with this white silicone mould. This was the last mould that Chris made, and it was a pretty decent sized ammonite. But guys, look at this please. You can already see it on the screen. It is the biggest, most beautiful, chunky beast of a mould. This is Chris's latest design. It's a giant ammonite and I'm obsessed. I am fully obsessed. I've always loved ammonites, and if you guys have been with me a while, you'll know I've done multiple videos using the inlays. I also made inlays from his molds originally before he started making inlays himself, with his full permission to make my own inlays, of course. Now, the last mold he made, measuring around about 7-8 centimeters across, this brand new mold is huge. This mold, from left to right, I was thinking, like, at what point do I measure it? Do I measure it here, there, everywhere? I measured it from that angle that you can see, measuring 18 centimeters across. Is this the largest ammonite mold in the world right now? I don't know, guys. You tell me. It's also measuring 3 centimeters deep. It is a beast of a mold from top to bottom. Then it's measuring around 14 centimeters. So basically it's a whopper. It is a giant whopper of a mold. Now, you can buy this in gloss or matte, and it was myself who asked Chris a couple of years ago, probably, like, can you do a giant one? Now, that's not something just easily done. So after, you know, quite some time, it was about a year ago, Chris said he's done it, he's made it, and he sent me this mold. Now, at the time, Chris wasn't necessarily looking to sell it on the open market, so I didn't do a video on it, right? I didn't want to show you guys something that you couldn't purchase, but it's now available on his Etsy. I will link his Etsy down below if you want to get yourself hold, if you want to get hold of this mold for yourself. Go grab it. Now, in today's video, we are using this giant ammonite mold, and we're doing 2 different variations. So 2 projects, 1 video. First up, we're going to be using epoxy resin. Now, here's the thing. Chris sent me the shiny version. You can buy it in matte, which is perfect for your ecos, your Jesmonite, your aqua resin, all of your eco pouring mediums. It's perfect. But because this one is shiny, I wanted to do an epoxy resin video first, just to make use of that super high gloss finish. Now, if you have got super glossy molds, over time they will dull down a bit if you're just using eco pouring mediums with them. The eco pouring medium, Jesmonite or any other brand, will eventually dull a high gloss mold. And therefore, I wanted to get one resin in there first before I use it solely for my Jesmonite, because that is what I wanted it for. Now, first up, like I said, we're using epoxy resin, but I'm also using all of the ammonite inlays that Chris has sent me over the years, and we're going to put inlays in the ammonite. So ammonites in ammonite, and we shall see. We shall see what we shall see. I am using the Let's Resin 2-part epoxy resin here, and I have mixed it, and it's been mixed on the Let's Resin mixing machine, just so that I could carry on prepping for what I wanted to do. And the whole time it's been mixing, I've just been kind of like faffing around, cleaning all of the inlays, because these have been in my cupboard for a while, using tape to remove any excess resin, and using alcohol and a wipe to remove any excess mica that would have once been used with them, just cleaning them up. Now, in total, this took 240 grams of resin, but I'm not filling the mold completely up, of course, because I'm using the inlays. A little quick blast of heat from my heat gun, and that's all I'm doing. I don't want to use too much heat on this mold because it's brand new and gorgeous and lush and all of the things. I mean, don't use too much heat on your molds ever, right? Ever. But yeah, this is me we're talking about. Right, so next up, it's time to lay down the inlays. Now, using the tip that Wendy from Toonpish Crafts taught me, that if you spray your inlays with a little bit of isopropyl alcohol, then that will help eliminate any air bubbles getting trapped from underneath. But alternatively, you can hold it in your hand and pour some resin directly onto the ammonite as well, just to make sure that they are fully coated in resin prior to laying them down. Now, I've sped this bit up because this was a process. Every time I put one in, like, it was half sinking, so I had to pull it out. And of course, I've got more resin in the right hand side, so that's a deep section there, so there's more resin there. There's less space in the middle, so they were like lopsided, and this one kept sinking. And so yeah, it was a faff, thus I have sped up the video, but we got there in the end. Now I have made a little bit of a mess, but I'm not too worried. They're not going to sink. Most inlays will float. It's just that where the resin is quite shallow, there is some resin going up and over the sides. I did a little bit of a cleanup job, but honestly, not too much. I wasn't worried. I knew I'd be able to get these out the following day. So this is what it's looking like, and we are walking away for 24 hours, allowing this to fully cure, and then it's time to peel them out. And honestly, peeling inlays out of resin, it's just one of my favorite things to do. It really is. The imprints that have been left are stunning, apart from this one. Not very good at all. Not a good job. But the rest are pretty perfect and spot on. I don't know what effect this is going to have in the overall piece. I don't know if we'll see them, because of course we're laying these into an ammonite mold. We're not just laying these into a normal flat mold, right, where we would absolutely see them. So yeah, who knows? We're just having fun and we're playing with it. So this is what we're looking like so far. Apart from this one here, unfortunately, the resin didn't quite meet the middle of the ammonite because it's quite shallow here. So I didn't quite do that right, but it's all good. It does not take away from the final piece. Now, if this was a flat mold, it would. You would absolutely see that. But luckily, because it's a detailed mold, we don't get to see it. I'm then using the chameleon powder from Let's Resin in the colour teal, one of my absolute favorites, up there with plum. Now, plum and teal are two of my absolute favorite, I've said that twice, sorry guys, chameleon powders from Let's Resin. But the teal has got a stunning blue purple chameleon shift, and it is beautiful. And seeing as ammonite reminds me of, you know, rocky ponds, pools, lakes and oceans, then that's why we've gone with the blue, because we're going down an ocean theme. Now, like I said, this is a little bit of a something spacer video before my next series starts. I didn't want to do... Yeah, hi everyone. Say hello to George, because someone just walked past the house and you're just not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to walk past our house. I didn't want to go into a full-on ocean series. It has been probably a year or two since I've done any proper ocean videos, but I'm just too eager to move on to my next series, and I've been filming and planning for that. So yeah, this is a little spacer gap video to share this brand new mold with you guys. Now I am finishing this. I'm filling this up now with some Starry Night mica. This is a deep blue mica with a shimmer in it, almost like a super sparkle white. This was sent to me from Amanda Togood at Resin Supplies Den. She did send me some of this earlier in the year, and I've run out, and now she sent me another little kit of it. It is a stunning blue. Now, usually black, yes, jet black does work on the back of your chameleons and it makes them pop. However, I didn't want black on the background of this. I wanted to keep it in the blue family, and this is just dark enough to make them pop anyway. The thing is, you could, if you're looking down at this ammonite right now, you're thinking there's huge spaces where there is no powder, and that's sometimes a really weird visual thing that chameleon powder does. Like, it is covered in chameleon powder, but sometimes it looks gappy and spacey, and it looks like it hasn't taken to the resin, it hasn't stuck to the resin. Now it had, but it just looked spacey and gappy. So if you're wondering why I didn't coat some of the areas, trust me, it was there. Just, yeah, some angles you just don't see it. Next up, we're going to be using Jesmonite. Now, in the last video I mentioned to you guys, I've bought myself recently a brand new Jesmonite kit. All of my Jesmonite, and guys, I mean a lot, a lot of Jesmonite. I bought like the 75 kg kit a couple years ago, moved house, it stayed in the garage, got damp, went off, and the stuff I had in my craft room just went out of date. It's got a 1-year shelf life, and the last time I tried to do Jesmonite, it was a complete disaster. So I bought myself a new kit. This is a much smaller kit because I just feel like I'm using less of it nowadays, even though I want to use more. But anyway, look, let's move on. It's a small kit, all right? We're going to do more Jesmonite videos in the up and coming series that's about to start. So, oh gosh, can you tell I'm excited? My nails might give away what my next series is gonna be. So I think by now you'll all know what it is. So I've just mixed up some Jesmonite in this pot. Now into this Jesmonite, you of course can add any color you want. I'm going to keep it natural. I'm going to keep it completely natural and organic, and I'm going to be using sand. This is aquatic sand that I got from Amazon. It is designed to go at the bottom of your fish tanks, but because it's so light in color, it's perfect for resin art, resin oceans and resin art. And that is why I bought it, because if you buy sand for crafting, it's often way more yellow and dark brown once the resin has been added, whereas this aquatic sand stays pale, and I love that. Anyway, I've poured a ton of sand in here, and again, it's just gonna add some visual interest. Now, here's the thing. It's not necessarily going to add texture because the mold itself is smooth and shiny. Therefore, the ammonite is going to be smooth. Not shiny, but smooth. You can, if you wanted to, sand it back when you've demolded, you can sand it back. I decided not to because you can still see the sand. It definitely adds visual texture. Alternatively, what I was going to do is add a third project into this, but honestly, I just decided to tell you guys that you can, if you want to, use that sand, coat the inside of the mold with the sand, a really, really light dusting of sand, brush out excess, pour your Jesmonite, then that will give you textured surfaces. And guys, demold time. Is this not the most stunning thing you've ever seen in your life? All those blues and purples, and oh yeah, imagine using a cling film technique like this, like with this mold. I've got no idea what that would do either. Now, can we tell that they're ammonites at this moment? No, but what it has done is added depth. It's added so much more visual differences than if I were to not use those at all, right? You can see that there's something in there, but would you look at this and say, wow, there's a bunch of ammonites in this ammonite? I don't think necessarily you would. At this angle, I'm trying to kind of like move it in the camera like at an angle where you can just work out that they could be ammonites, but it's not in your face obvious. And that is, of course, because of the distortion, the surface distortion from the design of this mold. So again, it's adding a little something, something, but it's not screaming that there's like 5 or 6 ammonites inside this ammonite. And the color shift, that teal chameleon powder from Let's Resin, oh, chef's kiss. It is beautiful. It almost looks like there's light being shone through the whole piece, and there's no light at all. There's no like trickery. It's just the way the chameleon powder is picking up light. Now, if I come down at this angle, you see, crystal clear, no color, crystal clear ammonite, and you can just about work out that there's ammonites in there. But you come up above, look down from above, and stop it now. The colors, oh my gosh, the colors. Now, blue is up there as my favorite color. It's like the aqua, the gorgeous pale ocean aqua blues. Anyway, moving on to the demold for the Jesmonite. The Jesmonite AC100 is a 2-part mixture. I didn't talk too much about it, but I have got tons of videos on my channel if you want to learn all about it. This is me just showing you how hot the Jesmonite is compared to the rest of the room. It heats up like you wouldn't believe. 30 minutes after pouring, I am demolding, and this is what we're looking like. I did have a little bit of Jesmonite left over, so I put it in a smaller ammonite mold, and it's just beautiful. Now, like I said, you can sand this back to physically feel the texture, but I'm happy with the visual texture of it. You can see the grains, you can see the grittiness of the sand, you can see all the different colors of the elements of the sand as well. It's not just one flat, matte, cream Jesmonite finish. If you look closely, you'll see all of that detail in there. Now, I did get a crunchy edge, so I'm just going to go around and clean that crunchy edge off because The quicker you clean your crunchy edges, the better. Jesmonite, after demold, hardens up like you would not believe. Jesmonite is originally a building product, a building material. If you leave this for a few hours, even those tiny crunchy edges become impossible to remove by hand, and you need to sand. But look at this. Oh gosh, it's gorgeous. I love it so much. This is what the smaller one is looking like. This is the last mold that Chris made, and I thought it was giant. I was like, wow, look at this huge ammonite. This is the last mold, and just even placing them on top of each other, a gorgeous piece of art for your living room. But I'll be honest right now, my plan for this ammonite was to have it as a wall art piece. But the more I looked at it and the more I realized the way Chris has designed it is the center of the ammonite is a much lower. It's like going down into a valley. Hence, trinket dish. It is going to make the most perfect trinket dish. This is what they're looking like side by side. Which one is your favorite? Let me know. Are you team resin or team Jesmonite? If you've never used resin or Jesmonite or vice versa or either or, this is just to show you how heavy it is. Okay, 635 compared to the resin. I mean, this is of course full of moisture. I've only just demolded it, so that does need to dry out for 24 to 48 hours before you seal it. But just the sheer, it's doubled in weight. Like it's double the weight of the epoxy resin. So just to give you an idea, if you've never used Jesmonite before, what it is we're dealing with. It's a heavy, almost concrete base pouring medium. It is beautiful. Now, funnily enough, I can't choose between the two. I love them both equally. If you were to use this as wall art, I would definitely recommend you put a wire pin in here or a metal hanging attachment. Lay it in just before the Jesmonite cures. That way it's going to cure in there and you can hang it on the wall. But for me, trinket dish, because you can see how concave that center is. It goes down, it dips in the middle. Perfect for the most beautiful, serene trinket dish. Imagine that in a chocolate brown. Chocolate brown is so in right now in interior design. Stunning. Everything about it is stunning. I love them both equally for their own qualities. If I was going for resin, brilliant, love it, perfect. If I'm going for Jesmonite, that's all I want. I want simple, natural, organic. I want that natural feel if I'm going for Jesmonite most of the time. But let me know what you think. I hope you feel inspired. Chris, thank you so much for sending this mold over to me. I cannot wait to make 3 million Jesmonite trays. Okay, I thank you all. Thank you all so much for your support. If you're still here with my ramblings and my inability to do a complete voiceover without messing up nowadays, I still appreciate you for being here. Chris, thank you so much for sending me the mold. Guys, if you're interested in this mold, I will of course link Chris's Etsy Red Hot Molds down below in my description box. I hope you feel inspired. I will see you soon for my brand new series. Oh, can't wait.